The grainy footage flickers on the screen. 3 blue-white lights swaying between distant trees, their movement unnaturally synchronized. The timestamp reads October 12, 2016, exactly 30 years after Deputy Eli Granger vanished. "Camera 3 is dead," comes a voice off-screen. "Sound's going too. What the—" The footage abruptly cuts to static. This was the final recording from filmmaker Maya Peterson's documentary, The Vanishing, shot on Black Hollow Road in 2016. Her crew's equipment failed simultaneously at 9:17 p.m., the precise time Eli Granger radioed in his final report 3 decades earlier. When examined by forensic video analysts, the footage revealed something chilling. The lights captured on film matched exactly the pattern described by Clyde Hensley in 1986. Not similar, identical. In part 1 of this story, we covered Deputy Eli Granger's mysterious disappearance while investigating strange lights in the forest, the 15-year search for answers, and the haunting discovery of his remains in 2001. We examined the inexplicable damage to his badge and bones, the theft of key evidence, and the questions that continue to haunt Coldwater Hollow to this day. But there's much more to this story than what we've covered so far. When Walter Hargrove died in 2010, he left behind more than memories. The former sheriff had converted an entire room of his cabin into what locals called his Eli room, walls covered with maps, photographs, and newspaper clippings, shelves lined with journals documenting his decades-long private investigation. While most of these materials were donated to the Coldwater Hollow Historical Society, some remained hidden, kept secret, even from those closest to him. Only after his death would these final pieces of the puzzle emerge, revealing connections far beyond the disappearance of one small-town deputy. Welcome back to Last Seen Stories. If this is your first time hearing about Deputy Eli Granger, go back and watch Part 1 first. For returning viewers, comment below if you've ever experienced electronics malfunctioning in a supposedly haunted location. October 24, 2001. 9 days after Jack Dempsey discovered Eli Granger's remains, Sheriff Lucas Bennett arrived at the station to find the evidence locker door standing open. Inside, the box containing items recovered from Eli's grave, his badge, service weapon, and bone samples, was empty. "It makes no sense," Bennett told the state investigator assigned to the case. Nothing else was touched, just Eli's evidence. The security system had failed during a precise 3-hour window overnight. No fingerprints were found, no signs of forced entry. The combination lock showed no evidence of tampering. It was as if someone had simply walked through walls, taken only what related to Eli Granger, and vanished. For Nancy Whitaker, the department's evidence clerk at the time, the theft triggered memories of that night. Memories she initially kept to herself. "I was cataloging some new evidence around 8 p.m. when the lights started flickering," Nancy recalled in an interview years later. "I figured it was just another power surge. We'd been having them ever since they brought in Eli's things." Nancy described feeling suddenly dizzy, the air becoming heavy, like right before a thunderstorm. Then came the humming. The same phenomenon reported by Clyde Hensley in 1986 and search teams in the following weeks. "It vibrated in my chest," she said. "Made my teeth ache. I remember checking the time, 8:12 p.m. Then, nothing. Next thing I knew, I was sitting at my desk, and it was 11:37 p.m., over 3 hours, gone." Nancy didn't report the experience immediately, fearing for her job and reputation. Instead, she conducted her own small investigation, starting with checking the security cameras, which showed only static during those missing hours. But Nancy had one piece of evidence Sheriff Bennett never knew about until 2007, when she finally came forward. Photographs she'd taken of Eli's badge the day before it disappeared. "Something about it bothered me," she explained. The way the metal was warped, I'd never seen anything like it, and I wanted a record just for myself. The photographs, taken with Nancy's personal camera, showed something the official evidence photos had missed, a faint blue luminescence that appeared to emanate from within the metal itself. Visible only in complete darkness, the glow was so subtle that Nancy hadn't noticed it until developing the film. More disturbing were the strange markings visible under ultraviolet light, swirling patterns that experts later compared to mathematical equations or an unknown language. When digital enhancement techniques became more advanced in 2015, researcher Dr. James Forrester made a startling discovery. The patterns matched petroglyph symbols found in cave systems throughout the Appalachian region, symbols dated to over 3,000 years ago. These aren't random deformations, Dr. Forrester stated in his analysis. They're information, encoded somehow into the molecular structure of the metal itself. What that information might mean, and who or what created it, remains one of the most puzzling aspects of the case. But it would soon become clear that Eli Granger's disappearance was not an isolated incident. When FBI agent Daniels first mapped the locations of similar disappearances across the Appalachian region, he noticed something unusual. They formed an almost perfect arc across 5 states, each approximately 215 miles apart. In isolation, each case seemed unrelated, Daniels explained in his 2003 report. But when examined together, patterns emerge that defy coincidence. The first occurred on May 3, 1984, when Forest Ranger Trevor Collins vanished while investigating reports of poaching near Jefferson National Forest in Virginia. His truck was found with the engine still running, radio transmitting static. The last entry in his logbook, unusual lights near Copperhead Ridge. Investigating. No trace of Collins was ever found. The second case came 3 years later. Rebecca Meyer, a 26-year-old geology graduate student, disappeared while collecting rock samples in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina on August 17, 1987. Her research focused on unusual magnetic anomalies in the region. Rebecca's journal, recovered from her campsite, contained detailed notes about light phenomena and temporal distortions she'd been experiencing. The final entry described a pulsating blue luminescence approaching her camp and a pressure like being underwater. The search for Rebecca lasted 3 weeks. Dogs refused to track her scent beyond a certain point. Electronic equipment malfunctioned repeatedly. Her body was never found. The third disappearance completed the pattern. Franklin Osborne, a 54-year-old local guide in eastern Kentucky, vanished on November 29, 1989, while leading a group of hikers. According to witness statements, Osborne went ahead to scout a path and never returned. What makes this case particularly significant is that one of the hikers, amateur photographer Daniel Whitney, captured a series of photographs showing the progression of Osborne walking into a clearing, then a blur of blue-white light, then an empty clearing. The photographs were dismissed as double exposures or camera malfunctions at the time. These 3 cases, plus Eli Granger's, formed the perfect arc Agent Daniels had identified. But the pattern went deeper than geography. All 4 disappearances occurred after reports of strange lights. All 4 involved individuals who were alone when they vanished. All 4 happened between dusk and midnight, and all 4 experienced radio or electronic interference immediately before disappearing. Most significantly, after Franklin Osborne vanished in November 1989, the pattern stopped. No similar cases with the same characteristics occurred anywhere in the region for years afterward. It's as if whatever was causing these incidents simply left, Agent Daniels noted, or finished what it came to do. Walter Hargrove became obsessed with these connections, traveling to each location, interviewing witnesses, and gathering every scrap of information he could find. His journals reveal he began to see the 4 disappearances not as separate events, but as different parts of a single phenomenon, one that operated with purpose and precision. These weren't random, Walter wrote in 2005. These were selections. These patterns of strange disappearances continue to this day. If you want to learn about more cases like these, hit that like button and subscribe to Last Seen Stories. While supernatural explanations dominated local discussions, the scientific community proposed several theories to explain the phenomena associated with these disappearances. Dr. Eleanor Hayes, a geophysicist who studied the region from 2004 to 2008, focused on the unique geological properties of the Appalachian Mountains, specifically rare earth mineral deposits concentrated along the arc where the disappearances occurred. These locations contain unusually high concentrations of magnetite, monazite, and several rare earth elements, Dr. Hayes explained in her 2009 paper. Under certain conditions, these minerals can generate powerful electromagnetic fields strong enough to affect human neurological function and disrupt electronic equipment. Dr. Hayes documented instances where intense electromagnetic fields have induced hallucinations, lost time experiences, and sensory distortions in laboratory settings. She suggested that natural surges in these fields might explain the light phenomena and physiological effects reported by witnesses. The human brain is essentially an electrochemical organ, she noted. When exposed to powerful EM fields, it can misinterpret sensory input or even generate entirely false perceptions. This theory gained support when instruments placed along Black Hollow Road in 2005 recorded electromagnetic pulses 200 times stronger than Earth's natural background field. These pulses occurred in regular patterns every 28 days, corresponding with the lunar cycle. However, Dr. Hayes' theory failed to explain several key elements, particularly the physical damage to Eli's badge and bones and the precise pattern of disappearances that stopped abruptly in 1989. A more controversial perspective came from Professor Martin Reeves, a theoretical physicist whose career at MIT ended after he published his paper on what he called thin places, locations where the barriers between dimensions become temporarily permeable. Quantum physics has demonstrated that multiple dimensions exist beyond the 4 we perceive, Reeves argued. Under certain conditions, perhaps triggered by specific geological, astronomical, and electromagnetic alignments, these dimensions can briefly intersect with our own. Reeves suggested that the light phenomena witnessed in these cases might represent bleed-through from another dimension, with the humming sound being the audible manifestation of vibrational frequencies as the dimensional barriers fluctuated. If a human being were caught at the exact moment of dimensional intersection, he theorized, the physical effects would be catastrophic, consistent with the damage observed on Deputy Granger's remains. In 2007, Reeves conducted a series of experiments in the Black Hollow area, using advanced sensors to measure quantum fluctuations. His results, while preliminary, showed statistical anomalies that defied conventional physics, particles appearing to exist in multiple states simultaneously at rates far exceeding normal quantum behavior. The scientific community largely dismissed Reeves's work as speculative, yet his theories gained unexpected support from a very different quarter: military intelligence. In 2006, through a Freedom of Information Act request, Walter Hargrove obtained partially redacted documents revealing something unexpected: military interest in the Black Hollow area dating back to the early 1980s. The documents referenced a classified initiative called Project Blue Light, established in 1982 under the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. While most operational details remained classified, the project's stated objective was to investigate and potentially utilize unusual electromagnetic phenomena for defense applications. Walter spent years attempting to learn more, but hit walls of bureaucracy and security classifications. His breakthrough came in 2009 when he was contacted by retired Army Colonel Richard Blackwood, who had served as military liaison to Project Blue Light from 1984 to its termination in 1989. "I'm only talking to you because I'm dying," Blackwood told Walter during their meeting at a VA hospital in Richmond. "Pancreatic cancer, 6 months, maybe less, and I can't take these secrets with me." According to Blackwood, Project Blue Light wasn't originally focused on the Appalachian region. It began as an investigation into unusual radar anomalies detected over the Arctic Circle. But in early 1984, similar anomalies appeared in Virginia's Jefferson National Forest, precisely where Trevor Collins would vanish months later. "We detected energy signatures unlike anything in our scientific understanding," Blackwood explained, "radiation that seemed to fluctuate in and out of measurable reality." Military satellites were redirected to monitor the region, capturing images that showed brief but intense energy emissions along what would become Agent Daniels's arc of disappearances. These emissions occurred approximately 30 days before each person vanished. Most disturbing was Blackwood's revelation about October 1986, the month Eli disappeared. "We knew something was going to happen," he admitted. "The energy readings were off the charts for weeks before. We had a team ready to move in, but jurisdiction issues with local law enforcement delayed deployment. By the time approval came through, your deputy was already gone." Satellite imagery from October 11, 1986, the day before Eli vanished, showed unusual activity near Black Hollow Road. What appeared to be temporary structures had been erected in a clearing 3 miles from where Eli's car would be found. By October 13th, those structures were gone, with no evidence they had ever existed. "After the '89 incident in Kentucky, everything changed," Blackwood said. "The project was suddenly terminated, all personnel reassigned, records sealed for 30 years. When Walter asked why, Blackwood's answer was cryptic: "Because we made contact, and what we found scared the hell out of people who don't scare easily." The colonel died 2 weeks after their meeting, taking most of his secrets to the grave. But he left Walter with one critical piece of information: geographic coordinates written on the back of a prescription slip. These coordinates would lead to Walter's final discovery. When Lucas Bennett cleaned out Walter's cabin after his death in 2010, he found a journal hidden beneath the floorboards of the Eli Room, a journal that hadn't been included in the materials donated to the Historical Society. The final entry, dated March 12, 2010, detailed Walter's plan to investigate the coordinates Blackwood had given him, a remote location deep in the National Forest, miles from any trail or road. "If anything happens to me," Walter wrote, "give these coordinates to someone you trust, but be careful who you tell. They're still watching." Bennett kept the journal secret for over a year, unsure what to make of Walter's increasingly paranoid writings. But in the summer of 2011, curiosity finally overcame caution. He contacted Jack Dempsey, the hunter who had found Eli's remains, and together they planned an expedition to the mysterious coordinates. "It was the most difficult hike I've ever done," Bennett recalled later. "No trails, dense underbrush, terrain that didn't match any of our maps, almost as if the landscape itself had changed since the surveys were done." After 8 hours of grueling hiking, they reached the location, an unremarkable clearing with no visible signs of human activity. Bennett was initially disappointed, believing they had risked the difficult journey for nothing. Then Dempsey noticed something unusual, a perfect circle about 15 feet in diameter where nothing grew, no grass, no weeds, not even moss or insects. Just bare soil that felt strangely warm to the touch despite the cool mountain air. "It wasn't natural," Bennett said. "Nothing in nature makes a perfect circle like that." They began to dig, and 3 feet down they found it. a metal container about the size of a bread box, made of a material neither man recognized. Lightweight, yet incredibly strong, with no visible seams or openings, its surface was covered in the same swirling patterns Nancy had photographed on Eli's badge. Inside the container, which opened only after being exposed to air for several hours, they discovered fragments of an unusual metallic substance. Silvery blue in color, it seemed to shift and flow like mercury when touched, yet maintained its form. Most strangely, it weighed almost nothing, defying the basic physics of mass and density. Bennett sent a small sample to a metallurgist friend at Virginia Tech, swearing him to secrecy. The analysis came back with a conclusion that seemed impossible. The material contained elements not found on the periodic table. "I don't know what the hell this is," the metallurgist wrote, "but it didn't come from this earth." Bennett and Dempsey kept their discovery secret, fearing the ridicule that would come with claims of alien materials, and uncertain of the potential dangers of going public. The container and its contents remained hidden in a safe deposit box in Richmond, untouched for years. Only in 2020, after Bennett's retirement, did he finally share the discovery with a select group of researchers, including Dr. Hayes and Professor Reeves. Their preliminary analysis suggested a connection between this material and the energy signatures detected by Project Blue Light decades earlier. The truth about what happened to Deputy Granger gets stranger by the minute. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss our upcoming special on government cover-ups of unexplained phenomena. The dilapidated cabin where Eli Granger encountered the lights had largely been forgotten in the decades after his disappearance. Yet its history, when finally uncovered, added another layer to the mystery. County records revealed the structure was built in 1924 by Dr. Ambrose Whitfield, an astronomer whose brilliant career at Harvard had ended abruptly after he published a paper claiming to have detected intelligent patterns in cosmic radiation. Dismissed by the scientific community, Whitfield retreated to the isolated location in Coldwater Hollow, where he established a private observatory. His journals, discovered in a university archive in 2013, described his continuing research and something far more extraordinary. "They have found me," Whitfield wrote in December 1927. "The visitors from beyond the stars, they come in vessels of light, drawn to this place as if it holds some significance I cannot comprehend. They speak without words, communicate through images placed directly into my mind." Later entries detailed regular visitations to the clearing near his cabin. Whitfield described sophisticated equipment the entities used to take measurements of the soil, the air, the electromagnetic currents that flow stronger here than anywhere else I have recorded. Most disturbing were his descriptions of human reactions to these encounters. Prolonged exposure causes disorientation, lost time, and in some cases, physical effects, nosebleeds, burns, temporary blindness. I myself have experienced periods where hours or even days seem to vanish from memory. Whitfield disappeared in 1932. His cabin remained abandoned until the 1950s, when a succession of owners attempted to renovate it. None stayed longer than 6 months. Each reported equipment failures, strange dreams, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. The historical connection extended beyond Whitfield. When archaeologists surveyed the area in 2005, they discovered evidence that the clearing had been used by indigenous peoples for centuries. Stone circles predating European settlement surrounded the area, aligned perfectly with celestial events. Elder Thomas Redbird of the regional Cherokee community provided insight into local oral traditions. Our stories speak of a doorway between worlds in those mountains, a place where the Star People would come to walk upon the earth. It was considered both sacred and dangerous, a place where one could gain great wisdom or be lost forever. Archaeological excavations revealed ceremonial artifacts dating back thousands of years, all containing variations of the same swirling patterns found on Eli's badge and the mysterious container Bennett discovered. Perhaps most telling was the pattern of disasters that befell those who spent significant time near the site. Dr. Whitfield disappeared. At least 3 hikers went missing in the vicinity between 1940 and 1970. Trevor Collins, Rebecca Meyer, Franklin Osborne, and Eli Granger all vanished after exposure to the phenomena associated with the clearing. It's as if the place itself is a nexus, Professor Reeves suggested, a point where something from elsewhere can reach through to our world, whether by natural quantum processes or deliberate technological means. Today, Black Hollow Road remains open to the public, though signs warn visitors about potential hazards and poor cell reception. The area has become something of a dark tourism destination, with paranormal enthusiasts and true crime buffs making pilgrimages to the site where Eli's patrol car was found. Reports of unusual phenomena have increased dramatically since 2016. Local resident Sarah Jenkins described her experience from July 2023. "My car just died, completely dead. Then the lights started, moving between the trees like they were searching for something. My phone recorded static for 3 minutes before shutting down. When everything came back on, 2 hours had passed, but it felt like seconds." Similar accounts emerge monthly, with over 40 documented incidents in the past 5 years alone. Most follow the familiar pattern: electronic failures, unusual lights, lost time experiences, but no one has disappeared since Franklin Osborne in 1989. The scientific community remains divided. Dr. Hayes continues to advocate for her geological explanation, while Professor Reeves's dimensional theory has gained unexpected support from quantum physicists. Government agencies maintain official silence, though FOIA requests reveal ongoing classified research in the region. In 2018, descendants of Eli Granger established the Granger Memorial Foundation, which supports families of missing persons and funds scientific research into unexplained disappearances. Their annual conference brings together law enforcement, scientists, and families affected by similar cases nationwide. "We may never know exactly what happened to Eli," his nephew, Michael Granger, said at the 2024 conference. "But by studying these phenomena scientifically, we hope to prevent other families from experiencing the same uncertainty and loss." Sheriff Lucas Bennett, now retired, still visits Walter Hargrove's grave on the anniversary of Eli's disappearance. "Walter never stopped searching for answers," Bennett said. "Neither have I. But I've come to accept that some mysteries exist at the edge of human understanding, not because they're supernatural, but because our science hasn't caught up to them yet." The mysterious container and its contents remain secured in an undisclosed location, studied by a small team of researchers bound by non-disclosure agreements. Their preliminary findings suggest properties that could revolutionize our understanding of physics, if they can be verified and explained. As for Coldwater Hollow itself, the town has made an uneasy peace with its infamous mystery. The annual Eli Granger Memorial Scholarship supports local students pursuing careers in law enforcement. The Historical Society maintains an exhibit dedicated to the case, and every October 12th, residents place blue lights in their windows, not in fear, but in remembrance. Some mysteries defy explanation, but that doesn't mean we should stop searching for answers. If you've experienced something unexplainable in your area, share your story in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Last Seen Stories for more chilling true mysteries that challenge our understanding of reality. Whether Deputy Eli Granger encountered something natural yet undiscovered, or something truly beyond our world, his story reminds us that the universe contains more mysteries than certainties. And sometimes the boundary between the known and unknown is as thin as the beam of a flashlight cutting through the darkness of an October night.